Hi everybody, it's Whitney from All the Shelves. I'm back for another batch of comic recommendations. This is a feature that I would like to do week to week. There are some comics that I read issue by issue and I am just finding them really enjoyable. And with how giant and intimidating and sometimes impenetrable the comic industry seems, I think it's nice to get some recommendations week to week. These are just 3 comics that I have been really enjoying lately and I want to tell you about. The first comic that I want to tell you about today is called The Visions. This is a Marvel comic that I am reading digitally, and normally I am not a huge Marvel fan. I study early American superheroes, so when I read comics for fun after work, I don't really want to be reading more about superheroes. I'm a little bit sick of them, to be honest. But The Vision is a little bit underexplored, and also this comic is not really superhero heavy. Even though it is about a superhero, he's not doing much superhero stuff. Rather, the Vision, who is like a computer android thing, I don't know, comic book fans might get annoyed with me for not knowing exactly what the Vision is, but you know, I saw the last Avengers movie and I kind of understood it. Anyway, he has created a family for himself, and his family is trying to fit into a Washington, D.C. suburb. So he has a wife and twins, a son and a daughter who go to the local high school, and it's mostly about them trying to fit in. Now there is superhero stuff that comes into it. Tony Stark makes an appearance, somebody else that I don't want to give away because it's kind of a spoiler makes an appearance, so there is some Avengers, Marvel Universe type things, but if you know nothing about the Marvel Universe, you are not going to miss really much in these books. And now seems to be a really good time to start getting into the Marvel Universe. Now you don't have to follow every single character's plotline, that seems absurd, even to me who reads a lot of comics and spends way too much money on comics, but Marvel right now is releasing their all new, all different series. It's what happened after Secret Wars, which to be honest I did not follow even a little bit, but now I know that they're kind of starting some storylines over again and it's like a great time to jump in. Although, you know, Marvel has been doing this for years. Every few years they sort of reboot the series, and those reboots are coming, it seems like, closer and closer together, so there are always entry points, but right now is one of those for what it's worth. So there are 4 issues of The Vision out right now. The first one looks like this. You can get them all digitally. Your local comic book store might be holding on to 4 comics, and I really recommend it. It's very enjoyable, really smart, and an interesting exploration of an underused character. The next one that I want to recommend is called Unfollow. I'm reading this one digitally as well, and this is the 3rd issue. I have taken the 1st and 2nd issue off of my tablet here. But this is a comic that is not that unique in themes or plot, but it's really unique in presentation and how interconnected it is in a realistic setting. So it's sort of the whole Hunger Games Battle Royale type story. There is a eccentric old billionaire. He has like $18 billion, and he decides that he is going to choose 140 characters, people, but you know, characters, Twitter, whatever, and he has them all come to an island, and he says he's going to split his fortune among the people on the island, the 140 characters. And as you can imagine, if there are 139 characters, each person is going to get a little bit more money. So there's some incentive to having fewer characters left on the island. So you can see how that is going to erupt in violence, and it's been done before, and I understand that. But I am finding this comic so enjoyable to read, partially because where Hunger Games and Battle Royale have more implicit arguments about what is happening in contemporary society to lead people to act in such horrific ways, this one is entirely explicit arguments. So like Ferguson is mentioned, or the war in Iraq is mentioned, and the way that we interact on social media is a large part of the commentary that is underlying the comic and the plotline. So even though it's something that's been done before, it's something that I for whatever reason am always interested in reading about, and I think that this comic is doing it very well. So this is called Unfollow. There are also 4 issues of Unfollow out now, and it is really excellent. I think that if you were to read the first 2 and see if you're interested in these sort of old themes, then I think that the next 2 are going to just get better and better. And the last comic that I want to recommend today is called The Dark and Bloody. This one just came out, first issue, last week, so I am recommending it with some caveats that I don't know where it's going to go, but from what I have seen so far, I really enjoy it. It's a horror comic, as you can maybe tell from that cover. There's a monster. It's set in Kentucky, and the thing that I like about it so far is how much effort the writer is making to capture the voice of a certain kind of character in Kentucky, a kind of like rural, maybe backwoods, like kind of Kentucky accent. The writing is actually kind of difficult to read, but it really gives you a sense of place and character. And it's so far super weird, and there's a man with an opossum for a friend at the end of it. Possums are disgusting, and I can't even imagine where this is gonna go. So I'll keep you kind of posted on how The Dark and Bloody turns out, but if you want to read it along with me, I'm gonna be getting it month to month. It's gonna come out monthly, and it's really cool so far. So there are 3 comic recommendations if you're looking for a place to jump into comics. I'm no comics expert, so if you have some recommendations for me, I would love to hear about those. I love to make my weekly trips down to my local comic book store, and when I sound very smart by knowing certain titles and I don't have to go by the store owner's recommendations, I always feel really good about myself. So give me that insider information, please.